Hey, 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 good morning. Oh, I keep saying that. It's good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, or whatever time it is you're watching this. I love seeing you. Again, hit replay if you're watching so I can say hi to you. And yeah, today we're talking about continuing our discussion, part two, about how to be fierce in the face of insecurity. Yeah, how to be fierce in the face of insecurity. We all have insecurities. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you've gotten and how famous you've gotten, how rich you've gotten. It doesn't matter. We all face insecurity, right? We all face insecurity. However, to the degree that we know how to face our insecurities, and I don't even want to say conquer them, but know what to do with them, the more freedom you will have in your life, the more prosperity you will have in your life, the more your dreams and your desires will come true for you. So, hello, my darling. Okay, did you get email? I'm not sure what email you're talking about. Did I get the email? All right. I wanted to say, start this off by saying, I'm going to do a little bit of review from last time about, the first thing we talked about in facing your fears and your insecurities and being fierce about is yet you have to know the truth. You have to know the truth. All right. So I'm going to go back and just say a little bit more about that. But then what happens after that? Once you really do know the truth, how is it? There is still some other things to be done. There's still some other things that you can do that are easy, that will make you more solid and allow you to manifest your dreams and your desires. Yes. So that's really what we want, right? We don't want to just be able to face our fears and face our insecurities with, this fearsomeness, but we want to be able to do that so that we can live a life of peace, power, and prosperity. Because that's what I believe is for you: peace, power, and prosperity. I believe that is the will of God for your life: peace, power, and prosperity. Okay? So I was thinking about even Facebook here. Facebook, social media platforms, wonderful tools to get your message out, wonderful tools to inspire people, to share your work, share your goodies, share the work you're doing in the world, share your programs, your products, your services, how you show up. Let people get to know you. Wonderful tool. Okay, it is. It can be a wonderful tool. I'm not going to go into all the other ways that people abuse it. That's for another conversation. But it's a wonderful tool. But you know what? It can really trigger insecurities, can it? It can really trigger insecurities. You can start to, you're putting yourself out there and then you're looking around and you're going, oh gosh, they have more of a following than I do. And you can start feeling now insecure. Or, oh my gosh, the way they articulate their message is so much clearer than mine. Oh my gosh, that person, look at, she just achieved her dreams. Like, what's wrong with me that I can't? This comparison, and I know it's been talked about many, many times, but comparisons can create insecurity, or not really create them, they can activate insecurity if you don't know fully the truth, if you don't get back to the truth about who you are, your value, and your worth, right? So comparing yourself to what other people are doing, especially on social media, can be deadly for you and moving forward in the plans and purposes God has for you. So I would like to really, call that out a little bit and say, um, check yourself on this. Learn how to deal with that. Learn how to acknowledge that you're feeling less than, you're feeling inadequate, you're feeling insecure. That's okay. Acknowledge it. But then learn what to do with it. So it doesn't rule you. You want to reign over your thoughts. You want to reign over your mental landscape. You want to reign over what's going on in your heart. You don't want to be ruled and controlled by it. Okay, so that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing here. Hi, Clara. That's right. You are unique. No need to compare. None of us do, but we do. I know we do. And the world kind of is structured in such a way to encourage that, to encourage comparisons. So you got to be on guard. You do have to be kind of on guard here. Now, maybe you're a person who has already been achieving a lot. Achieving a lot. You have achieved a lot in your craft and in your field. You're prosperous, you're making a lot of money. Well, if your motivation has been to prove yourself to the world, to maybe you're driven by insecurity, you may have reached a certain level of success, but believe me, if that is your motivation, eventually you're going to get exhausted. And that's how you know that you're not in flow. You're exhausted. So something needs to change there too. All right. So check yourself. Are you being driven by insecurity? Or are you being driven by joy? Are you being driven by passion? Are you being driven by love? All right. It's a whole different energy. So wherever you are, whether you're stuck or you're a star, there's a continuum there from being stuck to being a star, and every step of the way is an opportunity for insecurities to be activated and engaged. It's okay. I'm here to say it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a loser because you're going, why don't I have this conquered yet? No, you are still on the way. Every step you take, it invites a new insecurity. Let it be uncovered and let it be dealt with. Okay? All right. So let's go back to knowing the truth again. So to be fierce in the face of insecurity, you have to know the truth. And let's look at the truth. Let's look at a couple pieces of truth that I want to reinforce here. Number one truth is God delights and takes great pleasure in your prosperity. God delights and takes great pleasure in your prosperity. Yes. So insecurity might say, well, if he does, where is it? Okay, where is it in my life? If he does, where is it? I don't see it. That's insecurity talking. That's not truth talking. That's because that's now your experience. That's how you're seeing the world. So you need to change how you think about this. Because if you change how you think about this, if you get aligned with what God says and that he takes pleasure in your prosperity and that becomes your truth, you will see the world according to that truth. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So, here's one too. Insecurity says that I just want to have enough to cover my expenses. That's all I'm asking for, just enough to cover my expenses. And maybe that's all the faith you have is just enough to cover your expenses. Well, God's truth is he is a God of abundance. He is a God of surplus. Surplus. Now, I used to think about if I could just cover expenses, I'm going to be happy. Well, that was a level of faith that I had, right? And lo and behold, my faith, as your faith is, so be it unto you. It was just enough to cover expenses. And then I started thinking to myself, wait a minute. God is a God of abundance, which means surplus, more than enough. More than enough, right? I had heard stories, read stories all the time, the feeding of the 5,000. There God is, Jesus is in the middle of the desert. And you got a horde of hungry people on your hands. And there's no restaurants, there's no stores, there's nothing to even spend money on. You're in the middle of the desert and you have no food. People are hungry. God can produce in the middle of the desert out of nothing. And he did. He produced enough to feed the 5,000 and have leftovers. It wasn't like, okay, now you got to share or just take a teeny little bite because there's not going to be enough for your neighbor. There was more than enough. So that's the nature of God, more than enough. The nature of God is a multiplier, and that nature has been given to you. So when we accept this truth as our own truth, that I am a multiplier, I am a co-creator, I am a person who is can create surplus, live in surplus, live in more than enough. When that becomes your truth and you deeply believe in it so that it invades your arms and your legs and your mind and your heart and every cell in your body, then you start thinking. I mean, life just starts taking form in surplus. Surplus becomes surplus. When back in 2016, and I talk about this because it was so pivotal in our lives, back in 2016, for about a year at that point, we had decided that I would be the primary, pretty much sole financial earner. I would be the earner in the family because business was good, it was solid, it was stable, and Jean was going to be busy doing other things. But by the time after a year of that, I had felt a lot of pressure and I was tired. And then Jean was diagnosed with cancer. So after the very miraculous, successful brain surgery, I had the realization, the thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to? It was hard enough before to keep my business afloat, to make the six-figure income I needed to make. How am I going to do it now when all I want to do is take care of him? My heart's desire was to care for my husband, but I am the primary breadwinner. How do those things go together? Didn't seem possible. And I fell apart. I fell apart. Why? Because I was not living in truth. I was not living in truth where God is with me. He's going to provide for us as he has always in the past. I have favor with God, all of that. It seemed like all of those verses, all those thoughts, those beliefs I had went out the window and this is a new situation now. Those things somehow didn't have any application to where I was. And so I felt lost. So you can know the truth, but you don't really know the truth. This was an opportunity for me to actually get more grounded in the truth. And I said, all truth is based on love, right? All truth is based on love. So God says to me one morning, get back to love, Marianne. Now, some of you know, some of you don't know that at that moment, what caused the catalyst for causing my extreme despair was that there was only $600 in the bank. We had gone through all of our savings and I had a pile of bills and I didn't know how I was going to take the $600 and pay everything. Seemed impossible. I had no new money coming in, okay? And I had no way to go out and get it. $600. But the idea, the thought, getting back to love and meant getting back to seeing. I really urge you all, if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling like you're spent and you feel lost and you feel alone, go back through life and make yourself sit and think about all the miracles you've experienced, all the times that there was no way when a way appeared, right? Believe me, they're there. You've just forgotten. You've just forgotten. The focus is on the lack. The focus is not on the blessings, the provision, the care that you have received, the people that have been in your life to help you, the goodness and the favor. Your focus is on lack and not there. Well, when you switch over and you start focusing on the provision, the blessings, the miracles, it's going to do something inside your heart. It's going to set you free. And that's what happened. I got set free. Now you got to keep practicing freedom. But at that moment, and money started flowing in. Why? Because I think I unplugged the dam. The dam's in here and in here. I unplugged the dam, through the power of love. And the flow started occurring. Now, 4 years ago, $600 in the bank through practicing these things that I'm telling you. $600 in the bank to now debt paid off, surplus in our bank accounts. On the way right now, purchasing a new home, on the water, a dream location. This is beyond what I was even imagining. Okay? Surplus is abounding. So And it's not because I'm just so great and I am. Yeah, because God says so, right? I believe that. I accept that. But that's not the reason this is happening. It is because there are some spiritual laws and there's some spiritual ways in which God set things up, and we need to align with that. All right? Quit bucking against, what do they say? Yeah, kicking against the goads. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I want to help you to do. So the first thing is really knowing the truth. Getting back to love for me was getting back to truth. Getting back to truth. Here's another truth. You may have heard this already, but in Deuteronomy 8:18, God says to his people, I have given you the power to produce wealth. I've given you the power to produce wealth. Now, don't go thinking that you did this all on your own. Remember, it is I, God, who has given you the power to do this. And that's a very important fact to remember that it's God who has given you the power. It takes the pressure off you. Because everything you say, I did, you got to keep it up. You got to keep it up. And I've been there. I understand what that can do to you and the pressure it can put in you. So you're in partnership with God. With God. You're in partnership with God for your peace, power, and prosperity. Okay? So once I got back to love and I had this heart swelling gratitude, this high vibe energy, I entered the land of surplus. Miraculous provision came through. Miraculous provision. And then eventually I just developed tools to stay in the flow of abundance. I stayed practicing abundance and practicing developing tools. And ever since, this is what's happened as I just related to you. So it isn't that the truth sets you free. Truth doesn't set you free. It's knowing the truth intimately that sets you free. All right, remember that. Knowing intimately the truth that sets you free. And being a watchdog for every time that insecure trigger comes up and says it's not true for you. All right, yeah, God did that for the people in the wilderness. He said abundant life, but I don't see it in my life, so it obviously must not be for me. That's a wrong conclusion. All right? The wrong conclusion is it's not for you. That's a wrong conclusion. The right conclusion, it is for you, but there's something that you are resisting about that. There's some reason in your mind why that can't happen for you. Okay? That's what you need to figure out. Okay, so now, what do? You know the truth. You feel the sense of freedom and joy and this enlightenment and this excitement inside, right? Yes, because that's what knowing the truth really deeply about who you are and what God has for you and your mission and your prosperity, all of that. That freedom just lets joy be unleashed within you. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. But then after that, once you start feeling the freedom from worry and unworthiness and a don't deserve, and freedom from guilt and freedom from shame, that's the freedom we're talking about. All those things, there's freedom. Alignment brings freedom. So now allow yourself to explore. A lot of times you don't know what you want because you're still stuck in that place of constriction. You're not having the freedom. You're not having the joy, right? It's in that spirit of joy and freedom that you can decide and figure out and explore what your true desires are. God wants you to know what your desires are. He wants to fulfill them. He wants to give you the pathway to them. Okay? So explore. Allow yourself to explore. And the more you practice this, the better it gets. The better it gets. So, when I am exploring a new thing, whether it's a new coach or a new program or a new client or a new car or new house, right? I remember when I was looking for a new car, I had an older car for, I don't know, I think 10 years, 11 years. It was a good car. I'm a Mazda driver. I love Mazdas. It was a great Mazda. Did really well for us. So I was ready for a new car when we moved here. And so 3 years later, I was ready for another new car. Well, Mazda came out with a brand new design, a redesign of their Mazda 3s. And this really amazing color called Soul Red. I loved it, right? And I was like, I looked at it and I could feel, you can feel in your heart, when you start practicing your heart's desire, you feel the clicking. You feel just that it starts, things click inside. There's this warm feeling of settledness, like, yes, yes. So I knew I wanted that Mazda 3. I got it, right? This is last year. I got it. And you know what? When it's your heart's desire, it's not one of those things that fades. A lot of times we think when you buy a material thing, it doesn't matter. You know, the value of it just like right off the lot is depreciating, you know? Well, maybe so dollar wise, but that car does not depreciate in my eyes one bit. Every time we go to that car, every time I get into that car, I look at that car and I say, you are so pretty. You're so beautiful. Thank you, God, that I have such a beautiful car. I actually tell angels to guard my car so that nobody comes along and douches it, you know? Or I just stay in appreciation, right? I stay in appreciation. You can do that. And that gives you a greater lasting. That card may be depreciating in dollars, but it's not going to depreciate in your heart, right? So I believe the same thing with this house. You know, how many houses do we look at? Can't tell you, countless houses. Now, in a short period of time, we really crammed it in there. But every house I looked at, I could tell right away, nope, nope, yeah, maybe. And then we got to a house that would seem like, I think this is it. I think this is it. But it didn't have that clicking feeling inside. And we engaged, we got into the process, we put our earnest money down. We went through the inspection. We started the whole thing. And inside, I'm kind of feeling this. I'm trying to be okay with this house. And instead of trying to be okay, it took my husband. My husband said, you know, I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, you're right. I'm not either. Let's cancel. And we did. We did. I don't know, a week later, we found the house on the water, which I never thought I was going to be able. I didn't even think about having a house on the water. We live in Arizona, in the desert. Wasn't even on my checklist until it was. And then when I thought about, wait a minute, I want to live on the water and there's these beautiful little lakes and canals in that area. Why not? Why not live there? I love it there. And then the desire, I started to honor the desire. You honor your desire. Okay, so that's number 2. Once you feel the sense of freedom, you know the truth that sets you free, then you can honor your desire, explore your desire, honor your desire. And then third thing, okay, third thing. Now I know these things are not necessarily work in this really formulaic pattern, but sometimes if we have some kind of guidance here, you know, rather than being all over the place and everything seeming so random, it's not all so random. The manifestation of your desires is not so random. You have a lot more control over it than you think you do. And God has given that to you because you are co-creator. Okay? So the third thing is decide. Decide this desire is yours. All right, you first honor and explore it, then you decide that it's yours. Decide that you're worthy. Decide that you're deserving. Whatsoever you desire. Okay? Mark 11:24. Whatsoever you desire. When you pray, believe, decide you have it, and you shall have it. Not my words, those are the words of Jesus. Decide surplus is yours. Decide that you can have this, whatever this is. Okay? Decide. Decisions are powerful. You don't have to wait for how is this going to happen. I did not know how living on the water, a house living on the water was going to happen. There are very few properties available in this particular area, and the ones available are very expensive, like out of our price range actually, right? So I didn't know, but I knew that by honoring my desire, deciding about this and not settling for less, that's another thing you decide. I'm not settling for less. I'll wait until it comes up, until the right property comes along. And as soon as I made that decision, it's almost like, voila, there it was. There it was. So I can't tell you how important and how powerful your decisions are. But they have to be decisions. I was committed to living on the water, committed to waiting for a home that was going to satisfy. Okay? Waiting, committed to that feeling inside where it clicks and not taking anything less than that. All right? So, to me, this is how a queen lives, committed to the desires of her heart and committed to trusting God to work out the details because He's all about you and your prosperity. All right? And the more you do this, the more you can share with others. It's a beautiful thing. All right, number four. Number four, and this is so important. But doing number four without having done 1, 2, and 3, knowing the truth and being set free, honoring your desire, making a decision. This is all the rooted and grounded stuff. Number 4 now becomes a powerhouse. And what is number 4? Declare. Declare the truth. Speak your words. Out of the airways, into the airways, the vibration, the glory of God, the radiance of God, the voice of God coming through your mouth. Coming through your mouth. Oh, I remember, Jean, the email you were going to send me about speaking. All right, well, maybe you can give a couple verses here as we're talking about this. You know what? There's power in your voice. There's power in your tongue. Power. And especially when you're rooted and grounded in love and you know the truth and you're feeling that sense of freedom, that declaration is like you're manifesting what you desire through your declaration. Okay? So what did I do? We went and looked at the house, second time. I'm sitting there looking out on the water. I'm feeling the energy of the home. I'm feeling that connection inside. I declare, this is our house. This is our house. Now, yes, there were other people putting offers in on the house. She could have chose them, but not in my mind. Not in my mind. So we stood as we were leaving the house, and my realtor's kind of looking, well, she was great. She was great, but I think maybe, she knows me, so there may be a little bit of understanding that she has about how I am. But I stood in the driveway close to the street, and I put out my arms and I said, this is our house. And I turned around to the neighborhood, and I said, this is our neighborhood. I declared it. I had that certainty within. So declaring it and giving thanks. Well, what we also did was we followed it up. So we put in our offer. All right. We put in our offer, and yay, our offer was accepted. And little things started popping up that could threaten the completion of this. And it's not complete yet. We still have until November 17th for it, but we're calling it complete. Whatever little obstacles are coming up, and they do come up, they can threaten this whole thing. So on our morning walks, my husband and I, we declare the glory of God working for us in our favor. We declare that God is a surplus God, that we live surplus lives. We declare no weapon formed against us can prosper. And as we're walking, we are declaring truth. And we're thanking God for the completion of this, thanking God for this home, thanking God for, just our lives. Anything we can think of that is a blessing, we declare and we give thanks. Do you know how much power there is in that? Like by the end of the walk, we are so charged up. We're feeling so protected. Like, we got it going on and God is good and there's nothing that's going to stand in our way. Okay? That's how you take care of insecurity. That's how you take. Now, somebody may say, well, that's kind of foolish and you're setting yourself up for, disappointment. Fie on disappointment. I'm not afraid of disappointment. You afraid of disappointment? Do not be afraid of being disappointed. You will end up being disappointed if you become namby-pamby about this. All right? Now, I already put it out there. I sought God about, is this the house for us? If it's not, don't let our offer be accepted. Take it off the table. I'm good with that. Then that means there's something better. There's always something better. Okay, so where is the disappointment? There's no need for disappointment. So if some reason after going through all this, it doesn't work out, just means there's something better. You do not need to slump into a fear of disappointment, a fear of regret. Okay, so that is basically 4 steps there. 4 steps that you can take. Hopefully take notes on this, process it, do some journaling. But I want to say one more thing about your declarations. If your declarations are just like affirmations that you really don't believe, then you're not using them right. All right. Declarations are bringing the truth together with your desire, your dream and your desire, and your decision. All right. It's the force that is bringing all that together and shooting out of your mouth. That's where the power is. I hope you guys understand, what I'm saying here, but that's the power. It's not just a pretty affirmation of what you hope to believe. No, this is truth that's being spoken out of your mouth in the direction of your desire. And once you do that, it really builds some solid footing underneath you. It adds to the solid footing that you already have, but it's going to just make it even more reinforced and anchored so that when you do meet obstacles, it's got to come against that. Okay, and you just keep on declaring truth, keep on declaring truth, keep on declaring truth every step you take. Now, there's going to be steps that you have to take, and you might not know what the next step is. It's okay. Just take whatever's in front of you, moving in the direction of your desire. Okay, so remember this. Be aligned with truth, grounded and rooted in love. That is the truth. So get grounded and rooted in love. God's power is always working in you. And you release it when you are grounded and rooted in love. You release the power of God in the direction of your wildest dreams, your greatest desires. Okay? Decide on that and then move forward. So just keep practicing this. Keep practicing it and you're going to advance. You're going to abound and you're going to have surplus and you're going to fulfill your heart's desire. That help? Let me know. All right, now I'm done babbling. Let me say hi to you guys. Hey, Anna, good to see you. Living in surplus sounds good. Well, it's your portion, Anna. Just decide it's your portion. Decide it's your portion. Good old fashioned freak out seems like a normal reaction. Sure, it is normal. Freak out is normal. All the miracles I've walked through, yes. Yes, take time to really think about that and then build on it. There's more miracles for you. Yes, very good, Clara. Go back, review your life, get built up again in the miraculous. Deuteronomy 8:18, okay. That's right. Partnership with God, miraculous provision, very good. I feel that way about my dream home. Clara and I are working on her manifesting her dream home. How, Clara? So excited about that. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. That's right. That's right, Jean. Thank you. A man has joy by the answer of his mouth and a word spoken in due season. How good it is. Love that. Anna, sitting here with my eyes bugging out. This is fabulous. Wonderful. Get back to love. Come back to love. Yeah, baby. It's all about the love. It's all about the love. And guess what? You have unlimited supply. You have unlimited access to all the love. And it's the love that is the power at work in you. That's right. It's the power at work in you. This is exciting times we live in. There's nothing that has to hold you back. No, there's nothing that's going to stop you unless you let it. Don't let it. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Honor your desires. Make a decision and declare out of your mouth the truth of who you are, who God is, what your desire is, and what you have available to you. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, if you're watching the replay, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. Any questions, let me know. And you know what? There's a bunch of different ways you can work with me. You have a dream, you have a desire, you have a business that you want to create 6 figures out of or more. Let me know. Let's talk about it. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for letting me invade your time. Hopefully it was worth it. Bye-bye.